everybody, it's Friday here at Craftiness, also craftinessonline.com and craftinessonlineshop.com, facebook.com/craftinessonline and instagram.com/craftinessonline. And I am in Herod, if you didn't know that already. And today is Art Journal Day, so I am going to just journal a little bit. And today I'm going to be working on a new product I have in the store. It's a it's one of these, and I'll show you what it looks like in a second. Let's do the ceiling shot. And I do not have my computer set up, so Kendall's gonna have to tell me if you guys leave comments. And if the shot doesn't look right, and because running,
pushing it farther away,
pushing
your piece
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Closer. It can go down a little bit because it's so small.
Maybe. I can't tell. I think that looks right.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Centered?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So this is a Japanese notebook, and it opens like this, and then these are actually accordion pages, and they can actually pull off, which I'm kind of intrigued about, because if I do what I think I'm going to do, then it might be kind of neat to be able to pull them off later. I don't know, but today I'm gonna start by brayering. I'm gonna do some brayering, and hey, Kendall, would you mind grabbing me the wax paper that's right there? I'm working on top of my, sorry, it's on the table, right on the other side, other table.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm working on top of my silicone mat, but I'm gonna put some wax paper.
Wax paper? I thought you said graph paper.
Oh, sorry.
Like graph paper?
No.
I was like, why is she gonna use graph paper?
Self-conscious about walking away from the camera while it's on, but sometimes you just gotta just do it. Anyway, this is wax paper, and I'm using it, actually, let's see how that works. Because of the nature of this, it's just one sheet under both pages. And I use wax paper because I don't feel bad about throwing it away. I don't have to wipe it down. Even this I would have to, wipe off as I went along if I wanted to keep it super clean. And so I'm just gonna use a little wax paper. And I'm gonna brayer today. That's what I'm gonna start with. Sometimes in these smaller journals, yeah, this one was being tricky with me yesterday. I fixed it. All right, brayering. Brayering gives your page a organic, grungy feel. It's a fun way to layer color, and if you let the colors dry in between, they will, here's what I'm gonna do. Look, I'm gonna try and get this really flat so I can work on it. It's a great way to layer colors down and have them interact with each other. If you let them dry, they'll stay their color. If you don't, then they muddy together. So that's something you could do with them on purpose. And this particular page this paper is very light. And so I just want to add sort of thin layers, light layers. I don't know if I'll do much in the way of texture so much in this book as I will just getting some color down. And it's kind of fun having it be openable like this, and I just keep going maybe. See what happens when I add some Distress Oxide. Now remember, this is a water-soluble medium, and this is an acrylic. Once it dries, it is permanent. The Distress sprays are dry unless you get them, or are permanent as long as they're dry, but once they get wet, they will reactivate and interact with what you put on later. You can see the paper warping. And I don't know, because it's thin, I don't know if you can see just how many pages I'll have. Like, I'm guessing I've got yards and yards of paper to work with here. So that opens up the possibility of having, you know, a flow from page to page that you could open it up and see more clearly. You could actually write in it in a way that, you know, when you open it up, it flows together. Lyrics to your favorite song, poetry, thoughts of the day. One of my favorites is something about getting up, getting your coffee, and remembering it's not okay to stab people. One of my favorites. I appreciate the reminder sometimes. Sometimes it's all that stops me from stabbing people, I gotta say.
Okay,
No, I'm thinking more, yeah, political.
Is the Japanese journal online yet on the store shops?
Yes. Yes, it is. Thank you for
Does
asking.
it have a specific name? I might.
It is, no, but if you go to the store and look at like the most recent things that got loaded, it would be there. I think. You can see this is just like just a totally very similar to my usual stuff, but also different. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm really enjoying these Mica Stains from Tim Holtz. These are his spray stains. With some mica in it. Careful, the lids are loose. And they're bright and they're very mica-y. So I don't know if you can see. Let me get it dry. Maybe it's mica shows up best when it's dry, because what happens, mica is actually a mineral that's flat, and so even the tiniest pieces, what makes them shiny is they lay flat and the light gleams off of them. So it shows up when it dries, because when it dries is when it's lying flat on your work. So if you're ever like, oh, look how shiny it is now that it's dry, that's what you're looking at. If you ever get mica in its raw form, it comes in sheets, and you can pull the sheets apart, like flaky sheets, and you can pull the flakes apart and use them as windows in your work and grind them up into glitter. I think Finnabair has a mica flake that she sells. I don't know if I have it in stock myself, but for her work, big chunks of it. I see it in dioramas sometimes too. So I just want to show you what might be going on in the back. These sheets are perforated, so in those perforations it's leaking. Otherwise, it's taking a while to soak through, which is kind of nice. All right, so I'm gonna reach behind me and grab one of my favorite colors. This is my Liquitex Gold, and I'm just gonna. This is an acrylic, and it's a fairly heavy body acrylic, but it has a beautiful gleam to it, and it's just a really nice gold. It's kind of affordable compared to some of these other brands that I sell. Some of the craft brands, when you actually compare, you know, you might pay less for the bottle, but then you get a lot less in it. I'm kind of liking what's going on here. Look at that. It's kind of fun, little pastel-y. And I haven't done anything yet that's texture. This is just all paint so far. So it doesn't take much to get me going. So this paper is not very absorbent, which is interesting to note, because usually I work on papers that are, and so a lot of these liquids are taking longer to dry than I expect because they're sitting on top of the paper instead of absorbing into the fiber, which is partly why I'm getting a nice vibrant look too, is because it's all the paint sitting right there, none of it's getting diluted. Fun. All right, that's a stubborn little corner there. The Mica Stains, I now have both the Christmas colors and the Halloween colors, and if you get them all, I think there's 12. There are 12 colors now, and I don't know if they are including the previous colors that they put out, but anyway, if you get them all, you end up with a nice little rainbow of Mica Stains. I was noting yesterday I was restocking Seth Apter's paints, and realizing how many of his paints are blue, and then thinking about how, seriously, like, he's got 20 some paints, I think, colors, and I would think 11 of them are blue or blue tone. And I was thinking about Tim Holtz and how he was putting out blues, and I think it's interesting. Blue is one of those colors that you're always looking for just the right blue.
Not a boy thing.
What?
Is it a boy thing?
That's a good point. But you know how I feel about boy craft designers and how they get it easy in the industry. Don't tell Seth I said that. But I think a lot of boy crafters get attention because they're boys in a field of girls, women, I should say, men and women. And they get a lot of support and interest and enthusiasm for their products, and sometimes that makes me mad, just because I see so many women designers busting their asses to create products, and you know, with good designs and good ideas, and I don't know. And believe it or not, I'm not even talking about me. All right, I am really enjoying this.
Lois says hi, and she thinks it's really pretty spread.
Thanks. I'm enjoying it too. I'm going to add a little blue, though. Yes. I'm going to use, this time, I've talked about this before, you can just plunk it. Look at that. Actually, look how pretty that's coming together. You can just plunk it onto your page and then just put it around, but then you're going to have that the splotches. So if you load your brayer up ahead of time with the color, you sometimes get a slightly better result. Sometimes. I don't know that really worked though, well, the way I wanted. Still got splodgy bits. And I do like this Distress Oxide, so I'm going to bring that in again. You can see how it's pooling and interacting with some of the ones that are water soluble, and then pooling on top of the ones that were acrylic and have dried and are now acting as a resist. kind of enjoying just playing with color today and not worrying about texture or stenciling yet. Sometimes it's nice just to play with color. So it's interesting, I must have used this on something that had a bubble wrap pattern to it, because you can see the brayer has some texture on it now, and it's a bubble wrap texture, and it's showing up in my work here, which is kind of cool. That turquoise did not stay super turquoisey because of the places that it interacted. Let's see. Oh, goodness. Some more basics. Various colors, including turquoise. Not quite. It's a little more of a blue, but it's one of my favorites. I'll say that. Actually, it's very similar to the blue I just put down, but let's see what happens. Yeah. Really is. So I'm going to just pull out another length and brayer this out on there. Oh, do you see the bubble wrap? That is from the brayer. There's texture on my brayer. That's what that is. So it's kind of fun to work with the accordion and have, you know, have those pages there that I can just move into, which is kind of fun. I'm just going to add just a little bit of this color and see if I like it. I genuinely... do like it. It's gone a little pink as I rolled it out, but I do like it a lot. Adding a little depth. Cool beans. I'm just applying it horizontally, so I'm ending up with a little bit of a stripe effect, which I like. Anyway, there. Just color and just a brayer and just spray inks. I like it. I like it a lot. And it's interesting, this paper is actually, I'm guessing it has sizing in it, that it's meant for ink pens. So, you know, they formulate paper that's meant for ink pens in a way that it doesn't bleed. So the ink doesn't bleed through it. And so it looks like it's also worked to keep my paint from bleeding through, which is interesting. So far, I'm actually pretty impressed with how this is holding up, considering that I'm putting it through its paces. I'm just going to move on to the next two pages because, you know, I can. And moving in with some pink. If you've jelly printed with me, especially pre-COVID, I haven't really jelly printed that much with people since, but pre-COVID, I almost always threw in that gold in some way or another. This is the paint and sealer in one. It's a one decor paint, and by Folklore, and I have it in the store in lots of colors, but I'll just show you. This looks like you can really see that.
The satin or the gloss that you're using?
That's a good question. Let me see. I have no idea. It's the 8-ounce jar. Oh, it's the eggshell. Neither. How's that for an answer?
The colors are beautiful.
In the decor paint? Yeah, I really can. That's why I brought them in, because they're slightly bigger pots, and yeah, they really are very pretty. Let's see, where did I just didn't actually bring my distress sprays down. I have a can of them, or a tin of them. All right, so I got a little impatient with this page and I started just putting in lots of stuff. So I got to dry it up, and you can see the difference. This was me applying, you know, layers a little more carefully. And here's what happens when you're not so careful and they muddy together a little bit. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, a little different. You can see it's skating around on top of the paint that was down already. That paint is a sealer. I sealed up that page, so now it's sitting on top. Red again and see what happens. This is Alizarin Crimson, and let's see, the spray ink I've been using is Salvage Patina, and I've got worn lipstick down here somewhere. I've got, see the micas I was using, Jack-o'-lantern, and an Oxide, abandoned coral Oxide. I don't sell the little bottles of the Oxide, that's just in my stash, but I do sell the big bottles, so I do have it, just not in that size. So, you know, you can see a little bit how this spread is coming together a little differently. I'm not sure why that's not mixing, but this is Lucky Clover, so green. Got some paints that aren't open. Actually, let's do this. Let's do some pink. I'm hoping you can kind of see how the layers start to build into each other, and each new color adds another dimension and pushes the colors underneath it back a bit. A little light Brayering can create a veil of color on your page. these oxides are, the distress paints are, for the most part, okay. So unless you stretch them really thin, they're going to obscure what's underneath them. I really can't get over the bubble wrap pattern that's on here. I think it's hilarious. It keeps popping up. See if this has survived. I don't, oh, maybe a little bit of paint in there. So this is, you know, I've got some paint that's on its last legs, a tube that's on its last legs, so I just cut it open and have been using it just as a little paint pot. The paint's kind of thick, so we'll see how this sprayers down. Yeah, that's on its last legs for sure. And this is light portrait pink is what this color is. It's a Liquitex Basics. But you can see how a veil of a light color can really change what it feels like. And go back to a little bit of this. Brighten it up a little bit. Okay, so I've got, you know, 2 spreads with, my goal was just to really get a quantity of color down. And now I'm going to do something that I'd kind of forgotten I could do until recently. Oh, so it's worth noticing that here's what the book looks like, right? So those, I was working on it, quote, upside down. So now that I have something directional I want to put in, I'm going to make sure I have it the right way up. And I'm just going to do this because I like being reminded that this is one way to use stencils. It's really effective. I don't know if you can see the writing, how the stencil shows up through the spray inks. So when you do it this way, you don't want to flood because you don't want it to run under the stencil. You just want to get, you know, a quick spritz of color on top of your page that approximates the stencil. And this one in particular, just great for this. It really works. I don't know if you can see how.
This is a question.
Yeah.
Can water or anything be added to the light portrait pink to re-energize it?
Yes.
And make it better?
Yeah. You can actually add something called extender.
What is it called?
Extender.
Extender.
Which is a fluid medium that will revive old paint like that. I have so much paint I rarely bother, but if I had a pot that closed of that and it was sort of getting thick in that way, then I would add extender to that for sure and revitalize it. I love doing this with this stencil. So look how subtle that is. It's a little spritz through my stencil, and I get a little hint of its color, and isn't that fun? And then watch. I'm gonna take this and just in another page, rub it down and see if I can't pull up some of that stencil magic. Yeah. So this will be there for the next page I try to do in this particular journal, which I'm enjoying the whole concept of the, you know, it operates as a journal, but it's also an accordion book. So you can pull it flat, straight. And see how much paint I had left on that stencil after doing that. And again, this paper has some sort of sizing in it that is preventing it from soaking in, which is nice, but also means it's taking a while to dry. Okay, and then so I just want to show you what I did today. These 2 pages, oh, they need to dry. So I'll pull them out and let them dry. But before I go, I'm just going to do a quick with a different color.
So Lois was saying before today she didn't know there was anything called an accordion book.
Oh, yeah.
And she thought with a nice big table, the book can just go on and on.
Uh-huh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, accordion books are a very traditional, one of the oldest forms of a book. You know, they had scrolls in the olden days and accordion books before they invented the page and the folio, which is what you call a folded piece of paper. It's just a folio. So yeah, it's, look what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it the right way around. And so it's, you know, it's very traditional. How come I got a backwards representation? Never mind. I know why. My brain, my dyslexic brain was like, this will work, and then it's a surprise when it didn't. Okay, I could get obsessive about that. So here I have a couple of setups for, you know, moments and pages to come, and then a couple pages started there. All right, that's it. I'm done. Hope you like that, and come back at 1. I have a pretty awesome box to show you guys. Yeah, there we go.
And
From
Fodder Club today.
And Fodder Clubs today. I do have a couple of spaces left. So Fodder Club at 3, I have, I think, 2 spaces left in the Stamperia greeting card class. This is, sorry, tonight. And then there are spaces tomorrow if you want to do the Simple Stories card making class and page making class. I think those are still open tomorrow. All right, hope to see you later. Come back at 1, catch what's in the box. All right, bye.